Okay, so I am just about to fit the original stereo from my old Mercedes SLK. This was easy enough to pull out. Now, I do recommend going online and buying the real tools, because when you pull it out, you're going to be pulling it from this little slot here and this little slot here. You're going to need the tools which are like hooks. You have the hooks facing out. You put the hooks in and that'll allow you to pull it out. Now you can use other tools, but it needs to be generally hookified, otherwise you won't be able to pull it out, and these will break if you put excessive force on the plastic. So that's how you pull it out. Those hooks, cheap enough and easy enough to find on eBay, you put them out and it just put them in, just slides right out. One thing, taking this radio out of my old Mercedes and putting it in this one, I required the radio code. Now, the only way to get that code is to ring up Mercedes, and it may sound like a hassle, but if you just call them, ask for the parts department, give them the VIN number of the car from where the radio came from, and then they'll give it you right there over the phone. It's a 5-digit number, you put it in and it's done. Instructions for putting it in are in your manual. If you haven't got it, you simply use this to select a number and tap to go on to the next number. So you put in number 1 by scrolling, and then you jog on to the next number by pressing, scroll to find the number, tap to enter. Now when you've put your numbers in, the way you press enter, as it were, is to long press this knob, and that'll give you the code, and that'll unlock the radio. Speaking of radios, this is a WREG. Really weak radio reception from this one, and it's a much different antenna from the X-Reg. The X-Reg has the antenna in the boot, whereas this just has a little stubby on the end of the radio amp, or the RF amp, which is located in the left boot side wing, effectively. You can get to it, and I'll show you it. So this is how you access the power amp and the radio antenna in a Mercedes SLK 2.3 or 2 litre X-Reg WREG. They're all pretty much the same, and you can just access it by removing that, and if you've got thin enough hands, you can just claw in here, and about the size of a cigarette packet you'll find the power antenna, or the amp. Now plugged into that is the antenna, and on this 2.3 AMG WREG version, the antenna is a tiny stubby little thing. It's about 1 inch long, and the connectors can corrode and the signal isn't great. So little tip, if you're struggling for reception and you don't want to buy a new antenna, which are easy enough to find and fit, pull your old one off, give it a clean with some IPA or whatever you've got hanging around, and put it back on, and the connection isn't great. If you tighten it up all the way, you might find that you get less signal than if you unloosen it at half a turn. That's something to play with, but this is how you access it. If you really run in trouble with it and you need to access it, you're going to have to loosen this panel. You can't totally remove it, but you can loosen it. You'll need a torch, and you might even want to take off this corner light cluster. But that's where it is, and those are the problems that you can have with it. I had to sweeten mine up a little bit. I cleaned it up. I got it turned in such a way that the antenna was making contact, so it wasn't over tightened, and it actually works now, which is a good thing. Possible replacement in the future, but it's all working, it's all cool.